So we're at a time right now, again, where the Cardano blockchain really isn't getting a crazy amount of use, right? Still, we're talking about 30,000 daily active users. When we look at these weekly development reports, there isn't huge surges in terms of the projects or the Plutus scripts or anything like that. We're just not at that time yet. And something I find interesting is that, obviously everybody here, well, maybe not everybody, but most people here are ADA holders, right? And they're looking at these reports and they're like, man, Cardano is really not making much headway in this regard. We're just not seeing that adoption yet. And that gets them a little nervous. But I want to remind people something. Do you really think the adoption of Cardano, the use of Cardano, the chain itself, is going to be that much of an impact into whether ADA performs well in this market cycle or not? And the answer is probably not. Okay. While I do think that we get a major surge in terms of usage, because like I've talked about, Cardano is a necessity-based chain. It's put all these solutions in place for problems that exist in the space. And it isn't until those problems start to rear their ugly heads again that Cardano begins to get that adoption. And it'll take until a bull market cycle, right? Because there's not really, people aren't incentivized to use Cardano yet until there's problems elsewhere. Okay. Or people that are flowing in from outside the space. But ADA has performed well despite the Cardano chain not being fully functional before. You got to remember, during the last bull market cycle, ADA went on this massive explosion, right? From 2 cents all the way up to $3. And it did that all without an actual functioning chain. Remember, smart contract functionality didn't even roll out until late 2021, didn't have the ability to build cheap functional dApps until the Vassal hard fork in late 2022. There's a lot of things that have taken place during this market cycle to move the chain forward that were not there in the past. While I don't think the functionality of Cardano is that big of a deal in terms of ADA getting back to all-time highs, I do think it's a big deal when it comes to talking about some of the price points that we discussed in this last market cycle, anywhere from that $7 to $15 ADA. I think it's important in that regard because the sheer demand of ADA is what can help obviously drive those prices higher. When we get to a point where people are actually building on the chain, when we are seeing much more use in terms of the side chains, when we are seeing more stables rolled out within the ecosystem, when all these parts of the Cardano ecosystem that have been put into place during this bear market become fully functional and are actually garnering that adoption and use, that is when you will truly see ADA smash through some of those levels that we talked about, okay? Now, as always, this is not financial advice. We don't know for sure, and I could be 100% wrong, right? But if we look at history has shown that you don't necessarily need that major dominance to break down some of those barriers. Now, here's the thing. I do think that Cardano will get major adoption. I think this is the market cycle where it does it. And I think it's the market cycle where it has to do it because obviously advancements in tech, they happen quickly. Blockchain tech is advancing very quickly. If you guys haven't noticed, right? We've now had crypto for 15 years, and you look at something like BTC compared to ADA, right? And they're drastically different, right? Major improvements in functionality in terms of Cardano over something like BTC, and that's just over 15 years, right? There are new projects and chains that are launching during this time that are having increased functionality, major increases in throughput and things like that, right? That help with that adoption. So I think this is the time where Cardano does need to solidify itself and cement itself as a top chain. And I think it can do it. And obviously that's even only further beneficial for the price of ADA. So hopefully ADA holders like to hear that. As always, this is not financial advice. This is just kind of what my thoughts are as we move into this bull market cycle. But I appreciate you guys as always. I want to hear your thoughts on this. If you think that we need to be this dominant adopted chain in the space, or if you think ADA could just kind of do it on its own. But appreciate you guys as always. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Show your support below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.